You want to know what's so crazy about this story I'm about to bring to you outside of what I'm actually discussed about the story wise is because I found out about this before Caressa McKnight did, and I put it on Twitter, and she was like, oh, I want more information about it. So I sent it to her DM, and I said, it's amazing how the roles have reversed, because usually she's the one sending me all the emails, but this time I sent her the story before I got a hold of it. And I said, they are literally dragging out this R. Kelly situation because they desperately want this to be a Bill Cosby lynching part 2. That's what they want. This is what they're trying to frame it as. It's like they went for one thing, they couldn't get it, so they're going back for another thing and they can't get it. They're going for another thing and they can't get that, and it's a wash, rinse, repeat type of thing over and over and over again, with the attempt and the hopes that it's going to be a thing where black men are the face of sexual deviancy. Like, they have been trying their hardest for the absolute longest to have that happen. So as I was going through, I came across this rather interesting article. It's ridiculous. The article itself is not ridiculous, but what they're trying to get R. Kelly on now is ridiculous. The thing is, the more they keep grasping for straws when it comes to R. Kelly, the more it's going to make him look sympathetic to the public that already in their mind said, we don't want anything to do with this man, just throw him away and get rid of him. And now it's having people like look at him in a whole nother way. It's like, y'all might as well just go ahead and free this man, because you're not going to get anything with what you're doing. See, the thing is, they completely dropped the ball way back in the day in the early 2000s. If they wanted to get him, they should have got him for that. But either they didn't try hard enough, or they were just lackadaisical with it and didn't want to try, or there wasn't enough evidence to actually get him. And they also keep overlooking all the underlying stuff, you know, that a lot of these, I'm going to say it, willing participants went to him. And those willing participants were guided there by their parents who were grown, in hopes of maybe getting some kind of career out of this. Let's be real here. A lot of those parents who took their daughters to R. Kelly were trying to make them into the next Aaliyah in more ways than one. And they all failed. Every last one of them failed. And now they're trying to constantly throw all this stuff out there at him in hopes that something sticks, but nothing is sticking. So they have to constantly go back and continue to do even more things. As a matter of fact, this article right here shows you how far back they're going. And when I say far back, I'm talking about even before R. Kelly was born. So the article says lawyers for R. Kelly challenge New York charges that stem from 1943 law on sexually transmitted diseases. There was this rumor flying around that R. Kelly had gave one of his alleged victims an STD. But that didn't stick at all, because there was nothing coming out saying that R. Kelly had an STD, no matter what it could have been. And we never heard from this person that allegedly had an STD from him. But look at how far back they're reaching. 1943, a law from 1943. To give you an idea, my grandmother, who was still living, was 3 years old when this law was put on the books, because she was born in 1940. So that lets you know, just gives you an idea how old this is. Even though I didn't have to give you that example, you know, 1943 is way, way, way back in the day. But let me read the article. Some of the federal charges against R. Kelly are based on an aging law that makes it illegal for people to have sex if they know they have a sexually transmitted infection, a law that is blatantly unconstitutional, the singer's attorneys argued in a new filing on Monday. Now look at what's going on in California. They made it now where if you have an STD, you don't have to disclose your status with your partner. And if you happen to catch it, you can't sue your partner or whoever you had sex with who gave it to you for giving you that STD or that STI. The charges in New York federal court that stem from that statute should be thrown out altogether, the new paperwork filed there states. See, they're reaching all the way back 70 plus years to tack on to this man who wasn't even born when this law was even made. I even know such a law even existed in New York, but then again, it is New York, home of the NYPD and how reckless they are. And they're attempting to throw this on to him because nothing else that they're throwing at this man is sticking. So they have to literally go back to a 1943 made law in the state of New York to have this thing stick on to him because they want to throw him in jail so badly. Because nothing else they're throwing at him works. That's just like how you know what? When I think about stuff like this, it reminds me of what they put black people through as a collective in this establishment. They gave us so much shit from slavery all the way up until now to try to get rid of the black problem. And we're still here. Apparently still a problem for them. Just like for them, R. Kelly is a problem. But like I said, it goes back to them wanting to create this thing where black men are the face of sexual deviancy. And if let's just say they got this to stick, not only will they say that black men are the face of sexual deviancy, but they're also going to be the face of giving away reckless diseases or being these extreme carriers of STDs and STIs, making us in their eyes even more toxic. So that means the rest of the world can see us in this very negative light. They're not fooling anybody. As a matter of fact, who I got this article from, or where I saw it from, was actually posted by a palm-colored person. The author of the article, I believe, is a palm-colored person as well. And the people who left comments under it were both palm-colored people, and they both said hashtag free R. Kelly. Like, what now? What do you say to that? Even they are starting to realize that there's nothing there. But they want something. They want, like I said, they want another Bill Cosby so bad. They're like, oh, you got a Harvey Weinstein, even on the lesser charges. We're going to do our best to go after some of the bigger black celebrities or ones that black people hold in very high regard. They are not slick at all. The charges in New York federal court that stem from that statute should be thrown out altogether. Kelly was indicted last year in the U.S. District Court in Brooklyn on broad racketeering charges alleging he and his associates recruited women and underage girls for illegal sexual contact, then isolated and threatened them to keep them under control and prevent them from going to the authorities. Basically, that whole thing when they were saying they were held hostage, but then that didn't stick either because it pretty much came out that they voluntarily stayed, like they were voluntarily staying there, and then any case they could have had got blown completely up and way out of proportion because the girls in question, they could not keep their personal life off of social media. And if you want to see all of that, you can just go a few videos back and look at what Lovely T did on her channel, because she pretty much covered all of that stuff. Like she's good at digging and getting all of that information. And some of you probably have seen it, and it's a complete and utter mess. It is the parts of the indictment that accuse Kelly of violating the New York public health statute that bans anyone from having sexual intercourse if they know they have an infectious venereal disease that the defense lawyers targeted. That law dates to 1943 and was intended to prevent the spread of syphilis and gonorrhea to members of the military during World War II, according to a 2017 memo from the State of New York Department of Health. The department believes the statute does not apply to people who know they are infected and reveal that information to their sex partners, the memo states. According to that law, one's disclosure that he or she has an STD is not enough. Consent by one's partner is not enough, and well-recognized protective steps are not enough. The law as written requires that the one who has an STD engage in complete abstinence. That is not and cannot be constitutional. Kelly's lawyers argue the law violates years of the case law establishing the right to privacy. It makes it illegal to have private consensual sexual intercourse, the filing states. The federal charges do not reveal the names of Kelly's accusers, but at least one woman, Faith Rogers, has reportedly sued Kelly for sexually assaulting her and not disclosing that he had herpes, a potential violation of the New York law. Kelly, age 53, is in federal custody awaiting trial on the New York charges, as well as a separate indictment brought by a federal prosecutors in Chicago, alleging the singer conspired with two former employees, Milton Brown and Daryl McDavid, to rig his 2008 child pornography trial in Cook County by paying off witnesses and victims to change their stories. In addition, Kelly was charged in Cook County Criminal Court in February 2019 with 4 separate indictments accusing him of sexual misconduct over more than a decade. 3 of those alleged victims were underage at the time. If convicted in all jurisdictions, the embattled singer, whose full name is Robert Sylvester Kelly, could spend the rest of his life in prison. If this is not grasping for straws, I do not know what is. I don't know what J word, and y'all know what I mean, that 3-letter J word, R. Kelly pissed off. But they have it out for him. They have it out for him. Like I said, if they was going to get R. Kelly on anything, they should have gone after him way, way back in the day, when they had something solid there. But see, the thing is, people were still being fans of R. Kelly and everything like that, so they couldn't see past what they wanted to see. And now here we are in 2020, and now erupts all the fake outrage. It's unreal, but they're not going to stop. They are not going to stop. They are like Michael Myers and Jason, all rolled into one ugly package, and they're going to keep on going until they get him. Just like they got Cosby, they're not going to stop. And the thing is, they got Cosby in jail and they still talk about him. But see, they want to keep on getting at him until he dies. And even then, they'll still continue to go after him. Look at what happened with Michael Jackson. The man's been dead for over 10 years, but they want to make this Leaving Neverland crap, which, by the way, the Q Media Group has now pretty much faulted on everything, and they are no longer in business, thank God. But that just shows you the lengths that they will go when it comes to incriminating a black man. Now, like I said, what R. Kelly did back in the day, he should have been able to control himself as a grown man. That was his own doing. But what they won't notice what they won't talk about in the media is the sexual molestation that he faced at the hands of his own female family members. Him and his brother. They had like a real Antoine Fisher like moment, but they ain't going to talk about that. They will never dare touch on that, even though they should, but we know they won't, and we know why. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Have your notifications turned on, and I will talk to you in the next one.